When will we stop caving into sectarians, Islamists and Gaza thugs running our streets? What are the police scared of? These activists are now targeting Christmas markets and shoppers all over Europe. Not content with disrupting our cities over the summer, their endless campaign, despite a peace deal between Israel and Hamas, is designed to ruin your Christmas. Here were the scenes over the last 48 hours.
Palestine! Shut it down for Palestine! Shut it down for Palestine! Killing children is a crime! Killing children is a crime!
Yep, that was peak shopping season in London. Meanwhile, there were 25 arrests in Birmingham yesterday after activists showed up to support the terrorist organisation Palestine Action. And in Belgium, these activists also decided to target Christmas markets. Yeah, it's as if the continent hadn't suffered enough after endless terror attacks on Christmas markets, taking countless lives, by the way, over the last few years alone. And back here in London, though, Palestine activists clogged up the streets once again, shutting down entire roads and screaming at shoppers out to enjoy Christmas shopping atmosphere in London. Honestly, I am sick to death of these narcissists and attention seekers ruining our capital. Their selfish desire to virtue signal has cost this country tens of millions of pounds, with estimates stating it cost police forces north of 50 million quid and 60,000 shifts of wasted police time. I'm not even calculating the cost of damage to private and public property, or the cost to hide our businesses, or the legal fees for the criminal cases for those that have been arrested. Why do the police allow these people to continually divide and fill our streets with anti-Semitism and protests, calls for jihad and intifada, and outward support for a terrorist organisation? Why don't they stop it? And just cast your mind back to last Wednesday, when the people that feed our great nation, our amazing farmers, they decided to use that same right to democratically protest the budget. They planned it for weeks in advance, only for the Met Police to ban it just hours before and then arrest some of the farmers that defied that ban. It is so clearly yet another example of two-tier policing, isn't it? Just like when UKIP were banned from protesting in Whitehall, but masked Muslim men with eyewitnesses claiming some had weapons, by the way, were allowed to run the streets. It is one rule for sectarians, Islamists and Gaza activists, and one rule for the rest of us, isn't it? It's all reminiscent of the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans who were smeared and branded as thugs, despite the revelations now stating that Dutch authorities slapped down West Midlands police for using false evidence. Now, the Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, is allegedly intervening in this case. Well, it's all a bit too little, too late, Shabana, isn't it? It seems to me the police are scared of these people. Well, let me give the police's management, because it's not all the police officers, by the way, it's most of the management. I'll give them a message from the British people. Grow a backbone and do your job fairly and equally, or continue to lose the trust and faith of the British public in the ability for you to do your job.
There's nothing more important than keeping your money and your identity safe online. And with so many VPN options available, choosing the right one can be pretty daunting. But this video's sponsor, ExpressVPN, is making the choice easier for GB News viewers. ExpressVPN is offering up to 73% off, plus 4 extra months free. That's top-level security from just £2.49 a month, and you're covered by their 30-day money-back guarantee. So just click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code now. Remember, when you're online, you are often sharing personal data, so hackers can steal your information, your passwords, your photos, and your bank details in just seconds. But ExpressVPN encrypts your connection, making it virtually impossible for hackers to access your personal information. So why choose ExpressVPN? Well, it couldn't be easier to use. With just one click, you are protected. And ExpressVPN uses military-grade AES 256 encryption, which is the same standard trusted by the US government to guard their classified information. With their new tiered plans, you can protect up to 14 devices at once and manage passwords securely. Live chat support is available 24/7, and it typically connects you in under a minute with a real person. Click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code to get up to 73% off ExpressVPN plus 4 extra months free. Start protecting yourself today with ExpressVPN.
All right, let's get the thoughts of my panel. Journalist and broadcaster Linda Jubilee, Labour councillor Sebastian Salek, and businessman and activist Adam Brooks. Good evening, everybody. Adam, I'll start with you. I'll maybe just start with the top of what I was talking about there, which is I'm just sick of it all. It's been going on for years. There's peace deal in the works. It's been now active for at least a month. What do you think?
It's clear two-tier policing as well. We're allowing these protests sometimes to go ahead in front of synagogues. It's provocation, as you said, attention-seeking and virtual signaling. Let's remember, most of the Muslim world, you've got Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Turkey, Indonesia, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, all backing the peace plan, all backing the roadmap ahead. So why are these people still protesting? What is their end game? I'll tell you what the end game is. It's funded by dark money. You've got the professionally produced placards, like we see the socialist workers ones, Stand Up to Racism, and a lot of the trans events. These are the same sort of protesters. Now look, a lot of these young students want to be edgy. You know, you've got Tarquin and Felicity that want to don their keffiyehs, right, and be seen so they can put on their Instagrams that they're such nice people. But there's nothing to gain now from protests in Gaza. It's done, and it's getting done, and it has the backing of the Muslim world. So please, let's move on, and let's make the streets a little bit more inviting to our Jewish friends.
Indeed. Sebastian, do you know what really irritates me about all of this is that there is literally satellite images of a massacre happening in parts of Africa, Sudan and other countries, but they're out there protesting a war that's pretty much ended at this point by all compared to how it was 18 months ago. But they don't seem to have the same vehement desire to go out and protest for countries that are genuinely now going through a genocide.
Yeah, I mean, you tend to see people picking their cause, don't you, and committing to it. I think if we backed every cause, we'd never get off the streets. It's simpler than that, though. I think it's about defending their right to protest, and as long as you're not causing violence, as long as you're not part of Palestine action, as long as you're not intimidating Jewish people, I would support people's right to protest whether I agree with them or not.
Yeah, and that's absolutely fine, but the point I was making about this two-tier policing is that farmers were quite right and had planned a protest for weeks in advance, and then just a few hours before, the police banned it.
Was that not specifically about bringing tractors into Parliament
That's right,
Square?
but that was all part of a planned protest.
Sure.
Why was it only stopped 4 hours or 5 hours before the protest?
I mean, I don't know why it was stopped at short notice, but you can see why they might have banned tractors, because they're big, they're bulky, they hold up emergency vehicles, as I think we saw the other day. So it's kind of reasonable to be doing that. I don't think they banned the entire protest, which would have been a problem.
Yeah, but those big Palestine marches clog up. I mean, I've been to them. They clog up countless streets. It's the same sort of clogging up of London. And I think the problem we've got, and I'll just push this over to you, Linda, the problem we've got is that regardless of whether you don't want the tractors in town or whatever it is, it was done very, very briefly. It was a very, very fast change, and there was lots of alleged reports that someone very high up had made a decision to stop this protest, this tractor protest from going ahead. And I can sympathise when we don't want to clog up the streets of London for a protest, but it does seem that every time Palestine activists want to get together and protest, they're clogging up the streets, and it's perfectly acceptable.
I want to say something here which I think is quite old-fashioned, really, but I think about it at this time every year. Christmas actually is a religious time of year. I'm a Catholic, a practising Catholic, and it's a Christian time of year. And I think that does deserve a certain degree of respect. Now, I wouldn't really go around targeting a Muslim religious festival and making light of it. I think that they themselves treat their religious festivals with a degree of reverence and humility. So what I don't like to see is our streets clogged up this way in the run-up to the second most important important religious festival, certainly in the Christian calendar, you know, after Easter, in this way, because I know we've got to have fun, we've got to have a good time, but I think people should remember that's what's behind Christmas. And when these guys and girls are out there with Palestinian flags protesting, they're not really thinking about that at all, are they? They can't be.
Yeah, no, maybe people will argue that they do think about that. I mean, some of the charts they're saying while you're shopping, bombs are dropping, so they're quite aware that this is a Christmas shopping
Plus,
period.
it's a big security issue.
Massive.
That number of people in an enclosed space.
Covering their faces. They always cover their faces.
Covering their faces. I've raised this on Friday night, actually. I think face coverings are just a no-no.
Yep. I'm
not talking about the hijab, you know, where you can see your face. I'm talking about the niqab, where it's just one slit. I think that is a big security risk when you've got police forces that actually use facial recognition cameras, and we've got to be able to identify people. The idea that you might be covering up from head to foot and not identify someone is shocking.
It's funny, you said about respect there. They haven't got any respect, a lot of these students. Let's remember, in the hours and days after innocent Jews were slaughtered on the streets of this country outside a synagogue, these people were seen outside train stations and inside train stations with anti-Jewish placards. We are dealing with a small amount of our youth that have no respect and have no reasoning of the damage and the hurt that they're causing. And that is the worrying thing going forward. They're just far removed from what humanity is about.
Who's actually doing these protests? Who do you think are the...
Well, a lot of them are middle class and posh
that's
white
what I
kids.
think.
And that's why I say, I joke, it's Tarquin and it's Felicity in their kefias, because it's almost like they're role-playing.
Yeah.
OK? This is a trend. They want to be able to put on their TikToks and their Instagrams that they are part of this movement and they are so trendy.
That's right. Is that not a part of growing up, though? Getting involved with things, even if you look back 10, 20 years later and think, God, what was I doing?
The lack of respect, Sebastian.
No, of course. Look,
it's terrible.
Yeah, and you know, what you were saying about placards, awful. I didn't see it myself, but, you know, I'll take you at your word. But isn't it part of their upbringing and their education to get involved with things? You know, in my time, it was the student protests. It was going down to Millbank. Didn't get involved, didn't throw any fire extinguishers through any party doors. But it's just part of people's development. And it's good to see them involved in politics.
I have also been to many of these protests. You can have a look at some of my previous videos of them screaming at me. They're not all young people. I mean, they are actually a hell of a lot of them, especially the ones that go to the Palestine Action, are pensioners.
Rich socialists.
Yes, very wealthy usually. Well, that's what they were. Maybe they are. But also, you know, people from lots of various backgrounds. In fact, a lot of people come up to me shouting at me, calling me far right before they've even heard me say anything. But there we go.
You do look like a far right.
I do look like a far right.
Let's forget the ethnicity of your family and all that. You are far right. But
of course I am.
A lot of these are back in Palestine Action. And we've seen over the court cases that the terrible violence on the videos that we've seen, sledgehammers, cache of weapons, and these, I'm going to call them idiots, are blindly saying, no, they're not terrorists. If you go somewhere and you use weapons like that on police officers and on security, you're a terrorist.
And how this all started was when the group actually invaded a military installation.
That's right.
I mean, end of. That's it.
Right, thank you very much, panel. We'll leave it there for tonight.